ready to go?
Ready to go.
Feeling good?
Oof. Man, I think I just lost about 10 pounds of sweat over the past 2 days, but
you're
the summer, right?
But I watch you. You keep doing the rookie move.
What do you mean?
You're not sitting on the top row.
I sat at the top row yesterday.
And you didn't sweat.
I sweat.
The wind doesn't let you sweat. I'm a fat ass.
When the wind stops, you sweat.
Well, the wind did stop for a couple minutes today. It did. Today it stopped for like 10 minutes. I looked at Joe. I go, shit, what happened to the wind? And then I talked to Travis, and then he started the wind back up again. And then we were cool. I don't sweat that much at the top row. That's the key. You got to get the top row because that's where the wind comes in. Once you get the second to last row and all the way down, especially those two front rows that they have for the meat and the bottom, oh my God, you're going to sweat.
The bottom's a no-go. As soon as I learned about the top row, you will never see me in the first two.
Yeah. And for those of you out there, you're going to camp, sit in the back top row all the way across. That's the coolest row because that's where you get the breeze coming through and it keeps you dry, man. I barely sweated. I started to sweat when we got for those 10 minutes that the wind died. Oh, what the hell happened there, dude? That was bad. And then it came back and we're all right. We were good. I was talking today about Waddle, and he had the big drop and in the deep ball. And the dude is as perfect a player as it gets. That's the one little thing he's got to knock out of his game because he continues to have a brain fart a game. Every game, pretty much, you'll have a drop that you're like, shit, dude, come on. In fact, he lost one game last year. I was just talking about it, all by himself with the two drops, completely changed the face of that game. And so today with that drop, that's one thing in his game that he's just got to – he tweaks that, dude, and it's all pro. That's it.
Yeah, like maybe a little – there's some – I don't want to call it focus issues, but maybe issues of trying to do too much. That's something that receivers who are good after the catch are kind of prone to is they start focusing on, okay, like, where am I going after this? How many guys I have coming down on me? Like, do I cut inside and out? All right, this is what I'm going to do. And you forget, like, first things first, catch, tuck, and then everything else. So, like, it happens, but he is so dynamic a player, even with the handful of drops that he's had over the past couple of years. I mean, he caught 100 passes as a rookie. He still caught 70-something last year, 1,400 receiving yards. Like he's fine. He's gonna be fine.
He's a hell of a player. He's a hell of a player. But he has too many drops. For an elite receiver, he has too many drops. It's just those are the facts, bro. I mean, it's practically every game. That's why it's not a handful. It's more than a handful. It might be two handfuls in a season. And so that's where I think he's just got to tweak it just a little bit. All right, Mike White outperforming Skyler here in these first 2 days.
Yeah, that's how it's been since Sunday. Like, go figure. People are in the stands, and it's a brand new Mike White. It's a brand new Mike White. Like, there's a few stakes. There's some stakes now. Like, there's people watching, and he starts the day off yesterday with that 40 whatever yard bomb to Waddle, and he's been a little sharper than Skyler has today. It hasn't, but I want to be. Neither White nor Thompson were particularly great over the past couple of days. I'm not going to sit here and say like they've been tearing the world up.
Waddle screwed Skyler because that was a beautiful throw by Skyler. That should have been a big play for Skyler.
It should have been a catch. And like coaches aren't going to ding quarterback for putting one on the money like that. So like it happens. Neither of them, but Skyler's been a little late on a couple of his reads. Mike White, just the velocity really isn't particularly there on some of these throws, but last year Skyler didn't look good early in camp either, and he grew more comfortable with the system. So I think we're seeing Mike White, I guess, get a little more comfortable with the system. Seeing him move a little bit more in the pocket. He was pre-stationary, I thought, during OTA's minicamp and the first few practices here this summer. But again, it looks like he's turned the corner. I'm excited for the scrimmage. I'm actually not going to be at the scrimmage, but I'm excited to see clips from the scrimmage. Best friends getting married in Minnesota, man. That is like there's not a lot of things that I put over my job,
Sunday, right?
But
it's Sunday.
Scrimmage is on Saturday, I believe.
Saturday, okay. I'll be doing something better. I'll be in Canton with Zach, so screw that, bro. I'd rather be there than the scrimmage.
Yeah, I would. But I am looking forward to the reports, to reading all about it. I will not be there. This is a hard no for me, hard out for me. But just to see, what they do in real game scenarios.
Yeah,
in game simulations, I should say.
That was fun yesterday with Zach going on the field and pumping the fans up. You don't really see former players or Hall of Famers actually do that. I got to tell you, man. Obviously, you never got the honor to cover him, but that guy was the best. In a win or in a loss, he gave you everything, dude. Everything. It didn't matter, and he answered every question like a champ, dude. At the worst moments, and as you know, those of us that do this business, those are the people that we end up respecting more than everybody else, because it's always easy to go talk to the guy that hit 2 home runs or throw a shutout or threw for 300 yards or scored 45 points. Go talk to the guy that just lost or gave up the winning run or gave up the game, the play, or whatever.
That's where a guy like I think Raheem Mostert is really that guy in the locker room, right? That was him. That was him last year. The losing streak. Every time he was active, he spoke after the game. It didn't matter what happened. Always consummate professional. That's always nice. Lorenzo Alexander was that guy in Buffalo when I covered that team, and I think it was maybe Thomas Davis or Greg Olson in Carolina. But every locker room's got one or two of those guys where, like, win or lose, good game, bad game, hero, villain, whatever, he's going to keep it real with you. He's going to speak after the game. Somebody's got to be that. Teron Armstead as well last year for Miami. Always rely on him.
Good Guy Award, right? Didn't he win the Good Guy Award, I think, from you guys?
Who won the Good Guy Award?
I think it was Teron Armstead.
Teron. Or it was either Teron. I know I put in for Teron. And
I remember Al Habib presenting it to him.
It was because there was a whole press conference for it. It was Teron. It was Teron.
And it was
I voted for it was Teron, Rheaume, and I think Gesicki. I want to say those were my three, because Mike could have pouted off all year. He could have pouted all year, and nobody would have blamed him for it. We probably would have criticized him, but we'd understand. But he didn't. He spoke every game, every week. He was a trooper, man. So, but yeah, always nice to have those guys. I'd never spoken or met Zach Thomas before. I knew his workout habits, even to this day. The guy looks like he can still play to me. Undersized, how? I didn't see it, man. I didn't see undersized.
And he was bigger as a linebacker. His arms and his chest aren't as big as it used to be. He was thick, dude. He was a big ass fire hydrant. You know what I mean? That's what he was. He was a fire hydrant. He's just one of those dudes that he was just rock solid, man. Just an amazing player, an amazing person, and I'm glad that he got the honor. All right, give me something that stood out, something that disappointed you.
I still have not noticed. I have not noticed Robbie Chosen the way I thought I would.
Yeah,
this summer, I thought he was kind of starting to run away with that proverbial wide receiver 3 job after the spring, and it hasn't popped. It hasn't popped in 11-on-11, which again, it's a little disappointing. But again, like,
isn't that the test for him?
There's not a lot of targets around.
Adversity now that he's not getting as many reps now and that kind of stuff. I think that's his, because I don't think ability is something we've ever questioned with Robbie. I think it's more about some of the other stuff that's gone on in his career, unfortunately. And so this kind of adversity now is actually a test for the coaching staff to see, because I think part of your conversations with him, it's, yo, Robbie, we know you can play. What about all this other shit? And then that's what you've got to get through. You got to filter through all that. So I think that's the only good thing I see about this adversity. If he's handling it like a pro, I think that's also progress for Robbie Chosen. Even though if you don't see it on the field, it might be progress off the field and in the classroom and in the locker room. And I think for Robbie, that's actually really important.
Yeah, like we're not always going to see this. This is why I try to steer clear of the, like, why is this guy playing? Why isn't this guy playing? Why are they doing this arguments? Because, bro, I see 20 minutes a day, 3 days a week at practice, and most of it is stretching and position drills. And then we see game day. But, like, we don't see the workout room. We don't see the film room. We don't see the meeting rooms. We don't see none of that. We don't see how people are in the facility. We don't see how they take care of their body outside of it. Like, we don't get the full story. So I don't know the full story. I'm not going to call him a disappointment. I'm saying that it hasn't popped in team drills like I thought it would. It hasn't popped like I thought it would. Seeing more Braxton Berrios than Robbie Chosen right now. And but again, wide receiver 3 is more of a construct than an actual position anyway. That third leading target getter in the offense, the third most targeted receiver, might not be a receiver. We don't know. We don't know. All I know is you're fighting for scraps after Jalen and Tyreek. So, like, it's not like I expected 30 catches by now, but the big play hasn't been there. The underneath stuff hasn't really been there. And then as far as what impressed me, it's still this defense. It's kind of a toss-up right now. I want to say Cam Smith because of what this secondary has undergone over the past couple of days, losing Jalen Ramsey and not necessarily losing a beat. It sucks that we really haven't gotten to see what this unit could look like with Ramsey in the backfield, man. Like, I think Ramsey made a big play. Let me think. Time isn't real, so I think it was Friday. I think it was the day he got hurt. He made a big play, almost picked Tua off. But I mean, we got a practice and a half of watching him, a day and a half of watching him in team drills. We haven't seen it. Cam Smith nose for the ball today, smooth hips, quick closing speed. The picks are going to come in camp, but really like the plays that he was making on the ball. But David Long also popped there at linebacker. He popped literally and figuratively, man. Like, that guy was thudding in the backfield. You could tell, like, I loved seeing the energy from that defense because it just felt like it hadn't been there the past couple years. Maybe a little bit toward the end of the 21 season, but, like, the juice, the bravado really hasn't been there, and we're seeing a lot of that now this summer.
When we talk about Friday, when there were all those sacks, okay, how much of it is really more about practice? That's what was dialed up in practice to kind of test different guys throughout.
No. Don't let people confuse you and tell you it was blitz day.
Hold on a second. Nobody confuses me and nobody tells me. I'm my own thing.
I'm not talking to you. I'm saying people overall. Like, don't let people tell you, oh, they're blitzing. Oh, they were working on this and that. Those are cover sacks. Sacks.
But let me explain something also. There were a lot of blitzes in that day. But just so I can prepare people, that's not Fangio's normal defense. So they were probably working on something that day where the head coach and the defensive coordinator say, hey, let's work on this, do a little bit more of this so I can work on this with my guys. That kind of stuff, because, a lot of people were thinking, because a lot of people were, oh, we're going to get a lot of sacks and we're going to go all over. And I was trying to explain to people, this is really not an attacking defense. Okay. They will attack, it's kind of like they will be deliberate about it. They're going to,
it is. Yeah. Like it's not. It's not. It's going to be more. It's going to be like the specialties in the coverage. It's in the backside of the defense, not necessarily the specialty, not the strength. The specialty for Vic Fangio's in the backside of the defense. It's closing windows. It is making quarterbacks think things are there that aren't there. It's not the Brian Flores, Josh Boyer. We're going to send pressure at you and make you uncomfortable. It's you're not going to know where to go with the ball. you're not going to know where to go. You're not going to know what's breaking open. That's what we saw on Friday. I didn't see, so much as like engage 8, play after play after play. It was quarterbacks are just holding on to the ball because it's like, I don't know there's no matchup advantage here. So like that,
right.
that's kind of practice is like, okay, like we want to work on this today. So defense, you do this, you put us in this scenario, you do X, Y, Z. Like that's.
I had a couple of people reach out. Oh, we're going to be blitzing. No, we're not, dude. No, stop. That was just a practice. That was probably something that they were working on. That's not going to be something that's their norm. So, because that's not who that guy is. That's not who Vic Fangio is. So, what you saw with Flo and what you saw sometimes with Boyer last year, that they're not going to do that kind of stuff. That's not what they do. Now, here's the other thing that we just talked about, and here's where I was wrong, and I think it's going in another direction. Whereas I thought once Ramsey went down, Kohu would be the guy. I think they want Kohu in the nickel. I think they want Cam Smith to be the ideal outside guy because of the size that he brings to the table. And obviously he has the speed. So does Kohu. But this guy's got the size. And then last year, you saw the play with Mark Andrews in the middle of the field with Kohu, that he got way up there and was able to deflect that ball, which that's, those ball skills, that's special. That kind of shit is special. So Kohu proved that he also has the hips to play inside and can play against tight ends too at times, because he has, he's a freakish physical Division II player he's probably the most physical Division II cornerback I've ever seen in my life.
Big guy, man. Like he's not he's one of those guys. He's not tall, but he's not small. He's short, but he's not small. There's a difference between small and short. Like that's so he's probably about 5'10", but he's pretty built. But no, I think Cater, especially because like Nick Needham's still on, he's not active yet. He's not practicing. They don't have a slot. They don't have a slot corner. It's Cater right now. And there's a little bit of danger when Needham does come back of, are we sure that he's going to be better than Cater at that point? Right. Like it's not something we really have been discussing, but we don't know what he's going to look like post Achilles, But I think they rotate either way. But yeah, I think Cam Smith is more ideal.
Cam outside and Cater inside, right? Like in their base, that's what I think they're attempting to do already from the get-go. You see the same thing then, right?
Yeah, I would say that's probably safe to say that's the plan. And I'm trying to just make sure I toe the line here between what's allowed to be reported and what's not allowed to be reported. But I would say that it makes the most sense for Cater to be in the slot, considering there's no other slot corner right now.
Right. No, and it's not reporting. It's just kind of what we're thinking, we're seeing what we think they may end up doing, that kind of stuff. Because, I mean, everybody else can see it. Jesus Christ.
I know, but boy, I need that credential to see.
I know, but it's just, to me, I thought it would be the other way around. Because the youngin, you'll bring them along slowly and all that. Or then again, maybe they don't feel
I think we'd probably see more Cater outside if Needham was healthy. And Needham is not healthy right now. And that leaves them, pretty limited options at that slot corner position. So it kind of has to be Cater.
I can't wait for them to get back Needham and Trill, because I thought Trill was the guy that was developing over the last 2 years. Before that knee injury, and I felt bad because that was some pretty good depth, overall for them. It's like the Eli Apple thing I try to explain to people. I don't think Eli Apple was picked up because they need him right now. I don't think they need him right now, to be quite honest. I think they picked him up because they said, all right, this is the best guy that's available right now. If we lose another guy, he may not be available. So let's go protect ourselves just in case. And let's go lock down a guy just in case there's another injury.
They needed a body in there. They needed somebody like a vet in that room because, again, this season's obviously not starting tomorrow. Like there's a month, but you don't necessarily want to have to rely on a rookie or no Igbinoghene outside. No. Eli Apple is a low ceiling, high floor type of veteran where you know what you're going to get with him. Once he understands the scheme, you know what kind of play you're getting from Eli Apple. You're getting reliable play. Like Does he give up a big play or two? Sure. Yeah, like he's not. No one's confusing him for a lockdown, but he makes plays too. Like he's not like a scrub.
Hold on a second. He might be better off in this system. See, where I don't trust Eli Apple is man on man. This is more of a zone scheme. I think a zone scheme might hide his deficiencies a little bit more. A man-on-man scheme where he's left out on an island, that's where I'm scared with Eli Apple, because that's where I think his inconsistencies really show up. But in a zone scheme, I think this might actually complement him a little bit more. He might be a better player in a zone scheme than in a man-on-man scheme. That's just me. That's my guess. You tell me what you think.
I've got to watch more Bengals. I got to watch more Bengals tape, as we're seeing Dan Tim Patrick torn Achilles. I hate that for him, man. But I got to watch more. Bengals tape. I'm not very familiar with the Lou and Aramo, I'm talking about system up there.
Right. Yeah, sure.
But I think zone protects a lot of corners here. Like a lot of corners will look better in zone than they would in man. It's more up here than it is your physical ability, like in man. But
that's why I'm saying I just kind of get that feeling that he might be a little better suited to play here, and those things that make you nervous about Eli may not show up nearly as much in a zone scheme than in a man-on-man scheme.
So, no, probably not. Like I said, he's a high floor guy. It's a veteran. Like you know what you're getting here. He's a safe addition. There are a couple guys on the market between Ronald Darby, Casey Hayward. Like there are a couple names that they could have gone to.
It's a slide pickup. Not going to get top-notch talent at this point, unless it's a running back, because nobody wants running backs.
Yeah, that's who's available though. You can only take what the market gives you. I don't know what happened to whatever happened to Mackenzie Alexander, but we saw them do that last year too. Wasn't starting caliber. Jesus. But
right,
yeah, that was
poor kid didn't last 48 hours, bro. That was a shame.
We were just talking about it. I think it was like a practice and a game or something like that.
Right away. Poor kid. That was terrible. All right, what do you got going on ESPN so folks can check you out?
Yeah, man, just kind of taking in the past few days of practice, previewing what the secondary is looking like. I've loved what I've seen from Cam Smith. So, writing on him before I leave town this weekend. Beyond that, man, it's just so he's got. So
he doesn't have the instincts of no Igbinoghene, is what you're saying.
No, I think he's got a little better instincts right now. But like again, it's tough. Like I would love for them to find, or for like Noah to be able to get on the field in some manner. But it's not at cornerback. He is an elite athlete. There has to be a role for him somewhere. Like he's got to be. Maybe he's like some secretly good returner. Maybe he's like a better gunner than we think, or like a special team. Something like there's got to be a way to get him on the field, but it can't be at corner. It's not. We know what he is by now at cornerback, man. Like, and I'm willing to give him some benefit of the doubt here in his own scheme, just to see if it helps at all. But it's always been the instincts have always been the problem. That's been the problem. He's not a natural corner, so it's hard to teach that.
He is Aubrey Beavers. Aubrey Beavers was a third-round pick at linebacker out of Oklahoma for the Miami Dolphins a long time ago. It was maybe 23 years ago or something. Do me a favor, Sean, look up Aubrey Beavers and tell me exactly what year he was drafted by the Dolphins. I believe third-round Oklahoma. Aubrey Beavers was an excellent human being, okay? The kind of guy you meet and got a personality, super likable. You just like you gravitate. You're like, hey man, this is a good guy. You want to root for him. No Igbinoghene, right? And then he's also got athleticism oozing out of his body. He's got this body. Aubrey Beavers had this cut up linebacker, perfect body. He made this interception in the air where he grabbed the ball like two hands and rolled over and down. It was like this amazing play. And the kid just had no instincts, unfortunately. It just, he could never be in the right spot at the right time. You wanted Aubrey Beavers to succeed. Like you want Noah Igbinoghene to succeed, because when you meet Noah Igbinoghene, it's impossible to dislike that. It's impossible. You have to be a cold, callous, you're not a human being, bro, if you don't like that kid. If you don't root for Noah Igbinoghene, you will have a problem. Aubrey Beavers is the same freaking dude, bro. Same dude. 20 years later, same exact guy. Different position, but the same thing. The blessings are there from the good Lord. He's got all the athleticism in the world. He's built perfectly for the position. He's super likable. He works hard, all that. No instincts. What do you got there?
Second round, 1994.
94. There we go. 94 second round. And he was
That's
bust.
a throwback. I had no shot at knowing who that was.
No, of course not. He was probably drafted before you were born, right?
Oh, hold on.
What year?
I was born in 92. But
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Hey, respect me. I'm past 30. I deserve all the. I get all the respect. I'll be 31 this time next month. So
okay. But the same exact player, bro. Same exact player. Every time I look at Noah, that's who I think of, because it's just 20-something years later, I feel the same way about him that I did about Noah. And it's like, and you see Aubrey Beavers, you're like, hey, man, how you doing? And you're like, damn, dude, I wish this guy would have made it, and that's kind of the way it is. It's screwed up, man. What a shame.
Hey,
follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ. He'll be back on Thursday doing his thing here on the Welt Rheaume Miami Dolphins Report. As always, Marcel, thank you, sir. Have a fantastic day.
Yes, sir. Y'all do the same. Hydrate.
There you go. Always. Damn right. Marcel, Louis, Jacques.
This is the Big O Show.